called it Money Matters. I did forget to put bricks and all that stuff in there, but after we talk about it, I'll write down everything. So,
Yeah,
hey,
it'll all be good.
we're live. I'm live. I'm Deanna,
Yeah,
streaming out of
yeah.
Humboldt County. I'm here with Louie,
I'm
and
Louie.
he is in Del Norte County. But Louie is my guest tonight, and we're talking about what are we talking about, Louie? I hate to put words in your mouth.
Oh, well, we'll probably cover a lot, but our main theme is, honest money and currency and, a little bit of legalities regarding both of them.
Yeah, and I'd like to go over the website that we have up with your page on it and be
Yeah.
able to refer people to it so they can know how to find us. That was in the description box too, but we were talking yesterday and it was pretty fun. We could have went off and talked for a long time, and you kept saying, "Yep, we'll talk about that tomorrow," because there's so many fun things that you were bringing up. So I don't know if you have your bullet points down. I certainly have a few, but wherever direction you want to go. Yeah, okay, because I was really trying to re-explain this morning to my husband and welcome everybody in. I don't have an intro, so it takes people a few minutes to get in here. And also, a lot of people rewatch that aren't here. So I talk to people that aren't really here, but I want them to feel like I'm talking to you. I know you're going to watch later, so hi. And I was trying to tell William about how you were explaining to me last night about the rent and the gold and we were talking about inflation, and it's always hard for people to wrap their minds around, well, how would we exactly be able to spend coin currency? They just can't even fathom it.
Yeah, it's a tough one.
Yeah.
But you mentioned the word inflation, and what I've been noticing is people don't really know what it is and what causes inflation. They know the price goes up on stuff, but they don't. When you tell them, "Oh, it's because inflation," and then and they go, "Well, what's inflation?" Or vice versa. They're talking to me, and I say, "Well, what's inflation?" And then I get a million different answers. Some people that in fact, it's so broad now because it used to be there was two types of inflation. You inflated a balloon with air, you would put more air in and it inflates, or you inflated the economy with currency. And so you put more money in the economy and inflated it. Well, they got so what they've done is they've started analyzing things to the nanosecond and then go, well, at this point it's not inflation, and see it this isn't inflation because TVs went down, the price of TVs went down, so that's not inflation. But and the price of houses went up, but gas didn't go up. And so then they start going, well, there's housing inflation, and there's price inflation, and there's consumer good inflation, and that's all just to lie straight to your face so that you don't know what's going on.
So let me bring it back to what we were talking about yesterday, and it was the greatest point ever in all our conversations that I felt. You knew it too. It totally was like a bingo for me because you mentioned how when you paid rent back in the 80s,
90s.
Or the 90s rather. Okay.
Yeah, it was in the 90s.
Okay.
I lived in Santa Rosa. My uncle and I, we rented a house, and at the time, well, after all the rent, after the rent increases, which had a good landlord then, she raised our rent once, but it was approximately $950 for us to rent a house. Okay, in Federal Reserve note dollars.
Right.
And at that time, which was right around the late 90s and early 2000s, the price of gold was, when all the fees were done and everything, and not right at the very bottom, but it was about $300 to $325 for an ounce of gold.
I remember when it was $400 an ounce, the same price as marijuana in 1994.
Yeah. And then gold actually went down a little bit on the market for the Federal Reserve notes. So when an ounce was $400, you could get an ounce of gold for $325, $335. For a little while, but basically it was about 3 ounces of gold to pay the rent if I went and did the exchange on the market at the time.
Because she didn't accept gold, but this was just how you've gauged inflation.
Right, correct. Yeah. Right. And I bought as much gold as I could to save at that time. and it's helping me out really good now.
Right.
But so then I know those houses down in Santa Rosa now, they rent for about $3,500 a month. Okay.
Right.
So if I were to take an ounce and a half of gold today, or an ounce and 3/4, that would get about $3,500, or it's what, roughly $2,000.
Oh, interesting. I didn't even catch that point. What I caught was
now. Well, wait a minute. So then I moved up here into Del Norte, and my rent is when I moved up here, my rent was about $425, and an ounce of gold was about $600. Okay, because it had gone up after that. It went boom, boom, and then it started. Then it started up again on the market, because I don't want people to think that I'm saying gold moves, because it doesn't. But we use our language to stumble upon. Anyhow, so if an ounce of gold was $600 and my rent was $425, I was paying roughly, it would cost about 2/3 of an ounce of gold. Okay. When I moved up here, and that was in 2005. Okay. Then now my rent is $500, and an ounce of gold is $2,000 roughly.
Wow.
So now it's a 1/4 ounce of gold instead of 2/3, which is over a half. So it's actually the purchasing power of the gold has stayed the same, but it looks like it got more because the purchasing power of the paper went in the toilet.
Right. It's so hard to understand that if you're not, even just me going to the pawn shop one time and buying a roll of dimes. Was like just really like silver dimes, real silver dimes. Pre-1965, right? 1965 and older. And it was, one wanted to charge $98 in spot price, and the next day it was $104 because silver had changed overnight.
Paper changed.
Right. And that's the trick. It's like,
yes,
it's how many greenies it takes to actually get that coin, to get that precious metal.
Right.
That's what changes. The coin's value stays
correct,
very valuable and the same, and it's timeless, and it's
and that's what
people do spend and buy and sell and trade with it, but we don't really hear about it. It just seems so almost unheard of. And I hear a lot of people buying it and stuffing it in their safe. It's like, but who's spending it? You spend it, and I know my friend Devil Dog spends it, and I know a few other people that are seems like they're the historian people that know our laws really good, and they know about money biblically in the Bible and the whole honesty of it, the whole concept of this checks and how many hands it goes through and the banks, and that is all just so shyster, and we don't realize it. We just accept it and go with it.
Because we've been convinced that nothing has value. Okay. And once you can convince somebody that nothing has value, like that piece of paper, then you can convince them that, oh, the value changed today. Yeah, that was my phone.
Go away, we're busy. Yeah, don't you know we're famous? What the heck?
I should have told them, hey, log in, don't call.
Yeah, we will drop the link if anybody has questions and or if someone wants to call in. Because we're trying to get back to our streaming more regularly and be talking about this. We were also going to talk about BRICS. So BRICS is something that I hear a lot about. A lot of countries are doing things. Hi, Astawa. Good to see you, honey. And, part of me, I don't understand what's going on. I listen to people who do, I do. And it doesn't sound like, sometimes I think it's not a good thing. Sometimes I think it is a good thing. You said it's not a good thing,
well,
right? I don't know. Hi, Phil. Good to see you, honey.
It's fiat currency. And in my humble opinion, we're hearing about all this stuff. It's diverting our attention to the fact that our central bank, the Federal Reserve Bank, they're insolvent and they're collapsing. And the other banks below them collapsed first, and they are collapsing. And, we don't hear it all because the media doesn't focus on it. And, but what I understand, the BRICS thing was they basically are going to come out with a new currency. And to make people think it has value, nations, not so much people, it's more for trading between nations. It's what I understand. So that the nations think it has value, they're going to tie it to the price, which is in dollars, of gold. Well, that's like tying it to the dollar, because
the dollar hasn't kept its. They ever try to make the dollar stay with gold standard?
They did for quite a long time until 1971. Okay. Now, what first happened is when they started the Federal Reserve Bank, they issued paper currency, but it was redeemable. On its face, you could go to the bank or the treasury and you could give them the paper and get the metal. Okay. And the metal was gold or silver. And if it weighed a certain amount, then a certain weight of that each metal was known as a dollar. Okay. And so then in 1933, after they, trashed our economy in 20 years, Roosevelt said, hey, everybody bring your gold in. We're going to give you paper for it.
Wait a minute. I got to stop you. I got two wrong dates. One of these dates is wrong because I thought you said 71 and then you went back to 32?
1913. Well, but what happened, first, everything was redeemable. Okay.
Okay.
Then in 1933, President Roosevelt said, okay, we're not going to, you guys can't own the gold anymore. You can't redeem it and you can't own it. But if you're a nation like France or South Africa or China, you can
they'll honor it.
We'll honor it between nations.
Okay, I see. Okay. So it sounds like that's what they're trying to do again, only just with
No, they're not redeeming it. They're just tying it to the price.
Okay.
So let's just say, so they're just going to say, well, what China traditionally has done is they have said, okay, 6 of our yuan is worth 1 of your dollars. And so if your dollar is worth nothing, well, 6 of ours is worth nothing. If your dollar is worth an ounce of gold, then 6 of ours is worth an ounce of gold.
Okay.
So that way their fiat currency was pegged to our fiat currency. So when they say it's pegged, they mean the exchange ratio doesn't change.
Okay.
Okay. And the exchange ratio has nothing to do with the purchasing power. Okay. Hey, Astwa. So what the BRICS are going to do is basically the same thing, but instead of saying, hey, 5 of our BRICS is good for 1 of your dollars, they're saying, okay, however many, let's say 1,000 of our BRICS will buy is whatever the price of gold is on your market, America. And so by doing that, as they're tying it to the price of gold, so they're saying, hey, if you inflate a lot, then ours it appears to inflate naturally, but what inflates is their purchasing power, not the amount of bricks they're going to print. So in other words, if they have 1,000 bricks and it buys an ounce of gold today, then when an ounce of gold goes to 3,000 Federal Reserve notes, their 1,000 bricks is still going to buy the ounce of gold.
Oh, like a forever stamp.
Like a forever stamp. Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. So
that way they can accumulate gold at a lower cost. Right? Because they're, like you say, they're buying the forever stamps now. And then, if you've had a forever stamp for 5 years now, well, you paid 20 cents or 22 cents, and now they're 69 cents or 59 or whatever it is. But it's a lot. It's gone up a lot, Right. So that's, I think, what the BRICS thing is about. And it's a chess game in the world economic game between nations. Really doesn't affect the people in those countries or us here directly. I mean, it all affects us in the end.
Right.
But, we're not going to deal with it. And the people you go over there and talk to on the street, they're still going to have their local currency. We're going to have ours until, everyone decides they're going to take the mark of the beast. Then there'll be one currency.
It would seem that way. Yeah, it would seem that way. So what do you see as, our best options? Is there any, I thought that for a second there, I thought maybe BRICS was asset-backed currency. I think, because for a while, Mike Cullum with the Renegade Nation was talking about they were investing in a couple of banks, brick and mortar banks, asset backed. And then he just decided they were in over their head. And I think those are still going to happen, but he just didn't want to be part of them.
Yeah, but when you do asset backed, okay, think about what that means and what's the value of the asset. Okay, so excuse me a second. I got a foot problem here. There we go. So if you back your assets, are you saying, okay, 100 of our currency is worth a barrel of oil?
No, I think the idea was it was going to be gold and silver backed currency.
Okay,
digital currency.
Okay. Now there's a difference between the term backed and the term redeemable.
Okay.
Now, backed means you have to trust, you have to believe me. When I tell you that I only print one of these for every ounce of gold I have, okay, you have to believe it. If it's redeemable, then you go, oh, okay, so I can spend the paper and then I can bring it and get the gold? And I go, yeah, it's redeemable. And then we swap it. that's redeemable. That's
Yeah,
different.
where are those banks? Where are those banks?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are private banks.
Yeah.
And their notes are not good for taxes or other market debts.
Yeah. Yeah. Should we look at your webpage now and just
If you
kind of go
want,
over it? Yeah, let's
sure.
go over it and show people. We put together a page. If you have missed prior streams with Lewy and myself, he's taken some time to really try to help me. Lewy traveled a couple hours to actually meet me and my husband and to try to help me answer some questions about honest money and taxes and the law. As a historian, I would say, calling someone a constitutionalist is kind of stupid, I've decided. Right? It's like, is there such a thing? I don't know. I mean, I just think it's like saying my rights, my constitutional rights, but reality is,
You know how I say it?
how do you say it?
American.
Right. I know, but it's like when you take the time to educate yourself about the real laws, and people that, right, like if you take the last 3 years especially, we like the verse that my pastor gave, I think it's 2 Peter 3:18, about be careful not to be deceived by those who don't even know the law. And it's like, we have people that are good people in 2023 that think they are following the law. They think they are living honestly. And the reality is they're not. The reality is they're not. And it can be proven just with your money, because money is an outward expression of the heart. Where your money is, there your treasure will be. And so, yeah.
And money is an outward expression of the law. So in other words, the money, what you use as money, that determines the law that you're bound to. Okay. And so if you're using gold and silver, okay, then that money, when you and I do a transaction, okay, that money, that payment completes our transaction. We're done. It's over. There's nothing else, We
do the exchange. You give me something, I give you the coin. It's done. Right.
Yeah. Or you polish my floors at my store. I give you,
or clean your toilet or whatever you want, Louis. Yeah. Okay.
And then we're done. But if I give you a piece of paper, okay, now that paper is evidence of a debt. Okay.
Right.
So that debt doesn't go away just because I give it to you and for the work. Okay. And so that's called a discharge of payment as opposed to a payment. Okay. And so now
it's a delayed payment. Yeah.
The discharging of the payment is different than a payment because you deal with discharging payments in bankruptcy.
Ew.
See, and we've been in bankruptcy since 1933. And I think we've gone in 2 or 3 times. I think we went in as a nation in the 70s, and we went in the 80s, and we probably did in 2008, And it's a bankruptcy. In fact, it's not a bankruptcy that's the news says it, and so therefore it's now happened, And but I remember in the 80s when President Reagan, he got shot, okay, and then when he got out of the hospital, he signed a banking bill, and the rumor was he wasn't going to sign the banking bill, but he signed the banking bill, and then 2 or 3 years later, the whole stock market crashed in 1987, and then
SNL loans and all that, and
right, and then
Brothers was
that started the next round of okay, it's all of these are different levels of bankruptcy, and they're just digging out at, that's what kicking the can down the road is. It's
Right.
okay. Oh, well, we're in bankruptcy. Well, let's do this, and then when we get to this point, we'll revisit it. And we're getting to the point now where, hey, what's to visit?
I like this. I didn't actually catch this before with this article. History shows the real dollar is a coin containing 371.25 grams troy of fine silver. The dollar in the Constitution, both Article 1, Section 9, Clause 1 of the Constitution, and the 7th Amendment use the noun dollar. The Constitution does not define the dollar, though, because in the late 1700s, everyone knew the word meant the silver Spanish milled dollar. And there was so much emphasis on our freedom being attained and getting away from paper money, way more than we were really taught.
Yeah,
when we were
exactly. You said you're going to read the Federalist Papers.
Yep, I got this book. Yep.
And in there, you're going to find that they said we crushed paper money.
Yes, it's already. Yeah, I've already seen those quotes.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I mean, it's just these are our ancient principles. I feel is really important for us to get back to. Also, with so many people going parallel down the same road, assuming to get to the same place, somehow we just don't ever connect. There's only one truth. There's not just Louie's truth and my truth. Here's the truth about what the dollar really means. Okay? Right? That's what I'm saying.
Well, and that's a very good point you bring up. And a lot of people miss the fact, and I'm going to substitute the word truth for the word standard. Okay? And so what the brainwashing in the education institutions has done is it's taken away the standard of money in our minds. It's taught us that there is no standard, and if you think there is one, okay, there is, but it moves. Well, a standard by definition doesn't move. Okay, it's fixed. And if you go read Article 1, I think it's Article 1 in Section 8, that Congress has the duty to fix the standard of weights and measures.
Yeah, we went through that.
And the weight and measure that they fixed was the money, and that they called it a dollar, and that was an amount of silver at a certain purity and a certain
unit. Called it.
Well, a certain purity and a certain weight.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and that's what made up the dollar, and the gold was the same. But there was, a lot more silver available than gold, and there's a lot of people look at what happened in the 1900s because they noticed that the American economy was mostly silver. Not the economy, but the money of the economy was mostly silver, and there was like $20 billion of silver, and the gold would have been a lot less, maybe a seventh of that. But then all of a sudden we had like 18,000 or 8,000 tons, by the end of World War II. So there was a lot of gold came in. And that's, another point, when they value money, you value it against the other money. That's why the states can't make anything but gold or silver coin a tender and a payment of debt. Congress regulates the value of the money, so it's only regulating the value between the two monies, not the value of the land and 1,000 ounces of silver will buy you 10 acres, but now it'll buy you 1 acre. That's not what they're doing. They're going, a dollar of silver, the weight of a dollar of silver is going to be 1/7 of a dollar, the gold is going to weigh 1/7. Then they may come along and say, hey, wait a minute. There's too much gold and way less silver. So now they're going to be equal. Or they could go the other way and say, hey, silver's more precious now. So silver, a gram of silver is $1 and 5 grams of gold now is $1. I mean, we don't know what they're going to do. Congress has that ability and power to set the standard and reset it when necessary.
Well, right here, I found that act. It says it's very interesting. On July 6, 1785, Congress unanimously resolved that the money unit of the United States be $1. On April 8, 1786, the Board of Treasury reported to Congress on the establishment of a mint. Congress, by their act on the 6th July, last resolved that the money unit of the United States should be $1, but did not determine what number of grains of fine silver should constitute the dollar. So, yeah, but up here, Jefferson liked the Spanish dollar a lot, saying the Spanish dollar seems to fulfill all conditions applicable to fixing the unit of money. The unit or dollar, he wrote, is known coin already adopted from south to north. Our public debt, our requisitions, and their apportionments have given it actual and long possession of the place of unit. So he's, that was all throughout there. I don't remember learning about how important it was to get away from paper when I was a kid. And I knew a lot of this history. I went to a pretty good parochial school for being on the south side of Chicago, good Catholic school. It was better than the public schools. You could just, some of those things, they kept to a little more. We were taught about evolution and creation. And I was taught to spell. My husband went to parochial school too, but it was different for him. Those nuns were mean, and they were really focused on getting his pressure points in the right places. I mean, they scared the crap out of him. Poor boy couldn't learn to spell, much less add. I mean, all of them poor Hardwick boys. They were terrorized by those nuns. They were so mean. So anyway, I love talking this money stuff with Lily because, hi, Bonnie. Good to see you, honey. Because, it's confusing, and it does seem like we are going to have some things changing with our economy, with our world. And, I've been hearing about NWO as long as I can remember, knowing about anything, that you're going to be forced to take the mark of the beast. And you've got the last couple generations, I'd say some of these 20-year-olds never really heard about the real Jesus or the real Bible. Everything is polluted, convoluted, been twisted. I don't mean everything, but I mean a lot of things.
Every word has.
It's just so heartbreaking. Yeah. The Bible still saves souls today, and I believe it is the word of God. But from reading it myself, I know they've taken books out because it says, have you not read in the book of Japheth? Have you not read in the book of Enoch? No. Where are they? Well, because they took them out.
Yeah.
Exactly. Oh, Frog, you better be good because I'll kick your ass out of here, Frog. I will. Just depends what kind of mood he's in. You never know what you're going to get with that one. But yeah, it's interesting to talk about the money because I don't see a lot of people talking about it other than to sell silver.
Yeah.
And we had our event, and we're going to have more events. I've talked to more people about how I accept silver on my website, creationsbest.net, for payment. And it gives a big discount when you pay in real silver. And that's what we're trying to do. Why kick out the you're not the only one in here. See how he's a shit? You're not the only one, Frog, okay?
Yeah. Why not?
He just keeps it lively. But yeah, It's fun to talk about it, and we'll talk about it again. We had to take summer break. You and I both had some things to do. We had to get to our gardens and
Yeah.
tend to our families and people and do things. But, things are changing with the world. When OPEC decided that they were going to go outside of the dollar,
Yep. That was a big
that was
deal.
a BFD, people.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. That
That
was a real
was
big deal.
that was your yeah. And this BRICS thing, and Charles Schwab telling us every day what they want to do to us, and
Yeah.
come on, they're like out in the open about it now. So why are
Yeah.
people still in disbelief about this whole? I
Yeah, well,
don't.
most people they don't want to hear it. They're
Yeah,
in debt. They've heard it before when it was all conspiracy theory, and
right.
they don't know that it was all fact.
Ding ding ding. Where's my bell? Ding 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 ding. Well, yeah, that I even myself when last week, there's a lot of things blowing up with the Biden and the Trump and our own three-letter agencies and the exposure, the disclosure, whatever you want to call it, is massive. We're seeing they're starting to. It's starting to be comical. They're like
Oh
holding
yeah.
this thing up, like,
Uh-huh.
and it's just like,
Exactly.
how are you possibly even, how can you even in a straight face? And of course, in Humboldt County, we've got years to go because we're a couple of years behind the times here. And,
Yeah.
but you see them getting heckled. Who was it recently? Somebody was, Swallowswell. He
Yeah.
was somewhere and they were going, where's Fang Fang? Where's Fang
Yeah.
Fang? I mean,
Yeah.
it's
Uh-huh.
just, it's going to get ugly. It's
Yeah.
going to get ugly because when the American people figure out who these masked imposters really are, they're going to be so pissed. I'm so
Okay.
pissed
But
now.
here's the thing.
And you
What are
should
they gonna
be so
do? But what are they gonna do?
they're going to run their asses out of town and say, you murdered my uncle, you murdered my kid. Like when we're talking this COVID stuff comes out,
Yeah.
which it,
Okay.
okay, that
Yeah.
is coming out.
And yeah.
There's nowhere for them to run and hide. The pharmacist, CVS is closing down. That place is shrinking. Every time I go in there, it's shrinking. The hours are less. The service sucks. It's not going to stay open. The pharmacies are dying. The hospitals, there's videos on YouTube. I just watched one before we got on it where they are dumping people off. Okay. They're literally on the streets in
Right.
36-degree weather. These places need to be systematically dismantled. Americans do need to demand better. That's what they think someone's going to come and save them, I guess. I know they're not. I know it's up to you and me. It's up
Yeah.
to us to stand in the truth. It's up to us to want the truth. Number one, to want the truth and to not
Okay.
be like,
Yeah, but here's the truth, okay? You're in
yeah,
debt. You're in
yeah,
debt and you've been living beyond your means. Now pay your debt and go on, or
Hi, Cindy.
that's the problem I have. It's the same thing as in the 80s. Everyone is so deep in debt, and those debts are contracts, and those contracts are going to be litigated, and so people are stuck. They're in, they woke up and say, hey man, I didn't know this, and now what do I do? I don't have
Okay,
any
speaking of that, let me show you something that Linda showed me today. You know Rob Ryder, right?
I don't know.
Okay, well he's big on the whole oh gosh, fictitious name. All of mortgages, fictitious names. Okay, constitutionalist. How the government's the scammers, right? It's akin to your birth certificate thing. That whole thing. It's like
Okay.
when you were born, McDonald's sent you a buy one get one 10 Big Mac club. That's how he'll kind of
Right.
like it, the Social Security card thing. And
Right.
so let me just take it to his thing, because what he did was he used in a video he just did. Oh, I guess it was a month ago. He
Okay.
went to He went to Humboldt County, and he's showing. See, what I've been taught and told, what I need to do is I need to get my name that's written in all caps in my fictitious name, so that when these frauds come after me and say I owe them money, I'm going to send that. They cannot, they're a corporation suing a human being. Right, Louis?
Well, first off, you got to take one step back. Okay.
Yeah.
Did you borrow the money from them, or are they a collection agency?
Well, okay. Well, let's take the mortgage, for instance. He will teach people how to get your mortgage redeemed, because these people are a corporation that have.
Okay. Yeah. Well, to redeem a mortgage, I don't know what you mean by redeem the mortgage. Okay.
Well, okay. I mean, I don't know what I mean, because I don't know what I'm talking about. But
okay. Well, here's how it works. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Tell me.
You go to the bank, and you and the bank create money. The bank doesn't create it. You say, I'll pay it if you loan it. And they say, well, I'll loan it if you pay it. So it takes two people to create the money, not just the bank, first off.
Right.
Now, so that your account gets credited, you go into escrow, they transfer the property, and the note goes to the bank, right? So now you pay the bank, and you're paying it off. Well, the bank, they take that, and then they bundle it with all the other people in the community, and they sell that to the guys on Wall Street. Okay. Now the person, artificial person, the bank, that person no longer has the loan. So you borrowed it from that person. So you don't have to pay anyone that you didn't borrow money from. Okay. So that's one way to look at it. Okay. Now, when someone who didn't see, if some bank in Atlanta, Georgia writes you and says, hey, you're in default, well, you didn't do business with them. So how would you know to pay them?
Right. Well, we had this conversation with my husband when he was confused about how that would work too, because we borrowed money to pay the people that we bought the property from. So how in the world would we? And so the mortgage is a bad example. The mortgage is a bad example. There are other examples where
it's just like a credit card.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The only thing that would be different is if you borrowed the cash from your mom or your brother or your friend. Then, hey, come on, you're squashing your fellow human.
But you said that the money got deposited in the account. Who deposited the money?
Well, the bank entered the bank entered it in. It was when it was entered. That was when it was created by that deposit. Mm-hmm. Remember, because the money's created out of thin air, but it takes two people.
Mm-hmm.
That's why the U.S. government issues a treasury note, and then the Federal Reserve Bank takes that and says, okay, we credit your account. Because now they've got the promise. See, your promise to pay the loan is the asset that they say makes their money good.
Mm-hmm.
And so now we're in a situation where everyone's figured out, hey, the money's no good. But if the money's no good, that means what? It means you better go to court and figure out the issue. Because here's the other thing that a lot of you people that woke up 3 years ago haven't quite understood.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And you can check with your buddy Devil Dog and he'll tell you I'm right.
Mm-hmm.
If you can handle the heat in court, you can do whatever you want.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah. Well, and even Mike Cullum says that.
Yeah.
Depends how much you can, what's your pain tolerance, and that's the sad reality.
But it's
even
also
when it comes
what's
to
your knowledge level and what's your creativity level.
Right. Well,
and who do you know that can help you? You know?
Sometimes the more I know, the more cocky I feel. And then sometimes the more I know, the more terrified I am. So it
Yeah.
just depends what's going on that day. You know what I
Uh-huh.
mean?
That's right.
Pretty dark and twisted. I, I, I hope for lawfulness one day. I hope that there are really a lot of lawful people around us, that when time comes, we know what's right to do. I mean, if it
Yeah.
gets down to it, we're in a very precarious situation on the West Coast here. This is not my America I grew up in. I will not accept being treated like a dog and having human beings being treated like animals, and even animals. They've done it to us systematically with the animals. No, you can't get your flea medicine. You need to bring your animal in once a year for an exam. No, we can't even look at your teeth. You need to get an exam. They have treated us like we're their people, their slaves for decades. When I moved here, it wasn't that way. I paid $200. We paid for 3 years. We were caretakers. We didn't even pay rent. And we lived in an amazing Victorian home. But there was so much wealth here. So these were people's second homes,
Right.
but what happened
Yeah.
was everybody got greedy and they didn't want to just have people caretaken. Well, probably the quality of people, because
No,
we're so remote,
yeah,
people
but I
got.
don't think everyone got greedy. I think everyone found themselves in deeper in debt, and their purchasing power, their money went down, because everything you said, that's how I grew up. It was that way. Oh, you can't do this. You got to get a doctor excuse to skip school. Oh, no, you want to join the Little League? No, you got to go get a doctor. Oh, you want to join Boy Scouts? No, you got to cut your hair.
Right.
So even though I'm a couple of years older than you, I saw it,
Yeah.
and
Yeah. It's not right.
so it's
It's not
really,
right.
hey,
Yeah.
you woke up.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome to
Well,
America.
it wasn't always that way. Like I said, with the animals and even
Yeah.
with our own teeth, they have systematically. I mean, they weren't even going to fix my dog. I didn't want my dog to have a rabies shot. I
Well,
didn't. I don't
Dee,
want it
you got to understand what happened. It really was the way it is now.
anymore.
What changed was nobody was raised to believe that it should be the way it is now, so they would do waivers, and they were easy. But what happened is people would start suing. Hey, my dog died, that's all I have. You killed him. You
Right.
should have known better.
Right.
You caused it. And then he going, well, hey, I like you, D, but I can't afford the risk. You have to go through the channels, because that's what the lawyer told me I got to do to protect myself, my business. And that's really what's happened.
It's
And
insurance companies. It's the
and the
insurance. Yeah.
well, no, it's the people's own lack of knowledge.
Right.
And then they went and said, well, the expert said I got to do this, so I'm sorry. I mean, I don't like it any better than you.
Mm-hmm.
It hurts me more than it hurts you.
I'm over that. I'm
Yeah,
furious.
that's right.
I'm sick of humanity. You human beings, you should know better. You all in Humboldt County who treated us all like you did, shame on you. I will never
Yeah.
let you forget it. You will be schooled. We are going to learn our laws here, and we're going to fix this. Honest
All over
everything,
the
honest
country.
money, honest laws, honest people in office. We don't, we do have the government we deserve, but no more. No more. You all better pack your bags, because you got to go. New Humboldt sucks. We want old Humboldt back. that's what we're pining for around here. Talk to some guy in Arcata, at the music store. We're like, yeah, New Humboldt sucks. What is with this New Humboldt? They're all kissing NWO's ass and Schwab's ring and the Queen and all these policies with the climate change here.
Yeah.
It's disgusting. These people, they're like, oh, we're going to go electric everything. We're going to have turbines. You're only about 10 years behind really knowing the truth. I mean, as far as where these wind turbines, you're going to kill fishing up here. and they want it. They do. It's no wonder people crap on California all the time. And I try to defend them. I'm like, no, you have some of the best fighters here. But it's like, yeah, but they're also some of the worst people that are like, yes, we'll do everything you want, NWO.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of that's a lot of people. They would rather be taken care of as an animal than struggle and scrap as a human.
Not me. You know? I would rather. I have struggled
and really, what it's going to come down to is everyone that wants to be free, they got to learn how to litigate. They got to learn how to go in court. They got to learn how to become the plaintiff. They got to learn how to separate the group from the agent. They got to understand that fake people don't talk. Only real people do. They got to understand that the government didn't put you in handcuffs. That guy did. And you got to find out through litigation whether he was acting out of the scope of authority or within his scope of authority. And that's done through the legal process, through the discovery process, and through the litigation process. And it's really simple. It's just not easy. No. And you got to think, and you have to think a lot, and you got to figure out if you're on point. And, you know, it's
the more you read, though, the more you know. Let me just take them to Constitution tab that I've worked on for a long time. That's where I have Louie's stuff too, is under the Constitution tab under Stand Up Humble, because this is where the National Assembly, if you want to get involved in who are we the people, it's not through Anna von Reitz, because that I can tell you right now. You know, the more I learn, I've gotten deceived with that. Hi, Patriot Starfighter, good to see you. She's the one that's telling people they got to paper up and spend $40. And when you do that, you're out. You're not an American anymore. You don't want that. This is not papering up nothing. This costs no money. We only need 13 people to have our county assembled. Humboldt County, 13 people. And then, you know, 25 to 31 for a grand jury. And these people will be held accountable. It's not that much. But the people have got to engage. Californians are full of people that are we are in outdoor Disneyland here, you know. And every season is a fun season. Right now it's summertime. You know what I mean? And then it's going to be snow season, and they're just very busy. Well, you might want to get involved in your national state assembly. I don't even know where to go right now. I'm here at home. But the states, let me tell you, the states that are assembled right now: Alaska, Arkansas, Florida, Georgia, Kentucky, Michigan, Minnesota, Missouri, Montana, New York, North Carolina, North Dakota, Oregon, Tennessee, and Wisconsin. But yeah, they got some stuff on here about that. Infiltrators is a problem. That's why I mentioned Anna von Reitz, because some people, you know, once they've been burned by that, then they don't want anything to do with it. And it's like, well, this is where we hold the people accountable. I assure you.
Well, that's what I like to do, is teach people how to know if there is an infiltrator. And and once you know there is one, it doesn't matter.
Right.
They will leave because they can't handle the truth.
Right. You can't handle the truth. I want the truth. You can't. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. Well, here's the truth.
Yeah.
The problem is right in your bathroom mirror. Now go look at it and have a talk with it.
It's the truth. Well, people don't want to hear that. They want to go hear feel good stuff, Louie. Well, how dare you? How dare you ruin their evening?
What do you mean, how dare I?
Truth stuff.
No, that's not rude. That's
yes, it is.
Hey, you know, you want to drink beer and go party and make a lot of money. That's fine. You know, if you want to share it with me, that's okay. I'll share the truth with you, and I'll tell you when.
Louie, I'm going to make a circle pie chart. Okay.
There you go.
And it's going to have this little tiny sliver. And on the side, it's going to say helping your country. Right. And then it's going to have watching movies, watching Netflix, social media, eating, laying around doing nothing. I'm just like, I mean, seriously. And it's the spirit of profiteering also that hurts to I love streamers. I love the information, but we've got to focus. We've got to think about the people that did what they did for our country are martyrs. They sacrificed everything. And we're sitting up in here, and some of these people are sitting up in here, they're going to make a career out of this, sharing information. That is not the right attitude. Lewy and I are here with a servant's heart. We will never ask for money. We're not trying to be famous. We're not going to likely get famous. And I don't want that. I'm trying to help my community. And my community is Humboldt County, and it's an awesome community. And I believe that we have a remnant here of people that want the truth, that want an honest living, that like to barter, that would do some trade coin. Remember, we had the Petrolia guy was minting his own coin too, like that. That's here. That spirit of truth is here. It's everywhere. But we have to start declaring it and speaking it, because these words are true in their life, and people aren't talking about this stuff. They're just going along to get along, same as it ever was. And
actions are speak louder than words.
Yep. And we're going to have another event soon, and Louie's going to be going to the Redwood Acres. What's it called? What do they call that? Not a yard sale, but a garage sale. What's it called when they have the big event?
Flea market.
Oh yeah, flea market. Yeah. And he'll have, lots of different things, and we're going to be trying our very best to circulate silver. One more thing I'll show them real quick on my website, because I love to show that conversion thing you helped me to figure out. If you're looking for places to spend in silver, if you know of places where you can spend in silver, like let me know, because I would totally put them on. Now, let's say I'm going to go and buy this thing. You guys can see this. I'm just going to put in silver. And it's $45 for this product right here. But I put in silver, and it costs $1.35. So what is that, a dime, Louie? 1965 dime. Can you wrap your mind around that, people? This is what we're talking about here. And yeah, I'll take it, and I'll be happy to take that, because I am a private business, and I am a ministry, and I'm not paying taxes, and I'm passing the cost on to you. And I'm not supporting this beast system by doing that. And it's not evading taxes. It's actually doing it with honest money and doing it with the way that we're set up to be. I'm a 501A, not a 503 or 503. I don't know. I'm not the 503 or whatever it is. So what is that? He doesn't know I'm streaming. So anyway, we'll wrap it up here, but you guys will be back on again. So write your questions down, because I know you guys love Louie. And Camo, I missed you. Hey, buddy. Any last things you want to say, Louie, before we get out of here?
We'll do it again.
Bye.
Just remember, you can always offer to pay in silver, and it's okay if they say no.
Right. It never hurts to ask. Aren't you pleasantly surprised when you ask somebody something and you're sure they're going to say no, but they're like, yeah, totally. Yeah. It's awesome.
Yeah. A lot more do it than you realize, Will.
Yeah. If you have a servant's heart like Louie does, and I do too, we just want to help our community, just keep poking around, watching people that are doing things honestly, because right now there's a lot of people that are just wasting time. And time is short, and the days are evil, and we need to be doing things positive and helping our community as much as we can. And so anyway, that's all I can say. All for His kingdom. I love you, baby. A people's market. Right. Yeah. Not a flea market. Yeah. I never did like that flea market sound. I do like the people's market sounds great. I like that, Louie. Yeah. That sounds really good. We might have to start writing about that, putting that on Anthony's Rhapsodic logo, and get him get him, poke around with him a little more. All right. Love you guys. Thank you for being here. And we'll see you on the next one. Bye.
Bye.